Is that working? Seems to be. Okay, there we go. Hello everyone. Hello. Is that right? Can you see my hands? Hello. So, it's... Hello everyone. Hello. Quite a few more lists than previously here. It's been a long time since I did one. So, I've been asked to do a Q&A. So here we are. I'm going to try and keep it as brief as possible, because I know these things, although they can seem interesting to find out some things, they can be quite dry, quite boring. So I'm going to try and rush, well, not rush through them, but get through them quickly for you. Okay, so try and make this not too laborious. Right, obviously first off the bat, I'd just like to say thank you so much to everyone for everything, really. The kind guidance, the encouragement, the appreciation, sometimes hard messages, but again, anything can be done and anything can be said if it's done politely. So if you come at me shouting and screaming, then I'm going to just delete, unfortunately, because a lot of people are very angry and they can use YouTubers as punch bags, and I understand that, but it doesn't make it very pleasant, so I no longer engage like I used to in very aggressive comments. It's a shame. I did like to ask people what they meant by that, ask them to take a couple of seconds to think about it, and maybe come back a bit more conversationally instead of combatively. So, but unfortunately those days are gone, because there are quite a few of us now. And I would like to apologise immediately that I can't respond to every message. I don't even see all of them anymore. I try my best, but unfortunately, as I've made things more technically complicated from my end, obviously, probably Charles Bay to most of you, but to me, it's very difficult. So I'm good at certain things and not at others. But we'll get to that. Sorry, waffling away. But thank you so much for everything, all of you. Obviously a special thank you to all of the patrons who have allowed me to continue and to get things done a bit better, and we are starting to see improvements, I think, and you will see lots more soon. Hopefully if things continue the way they're going. Anyway, so right, the Q&A, sorry about that. Okay, do you write your own stories? Yes, I do. I write all of the introductory stories. Anything outside of to quote and end quote, as we all know, is that is quoting from a book, a source, even Wikipedia sometimes, even I do that, because I just don't have the library I used to have, basically. I've got a lot of codices, but I don't have many of the actual novels anymore, which is can be a bit difficult. Okay, so, but do you write your own stories? Yes, I do. I never say they're magnificent. I never get time to polish them. I'll explain the process later on. But thank you very much for all of your tolerance and patience. I do like to think that I get into things, but again, they're never as good as they sound. Reading this stuff is never as good as actually hearing it. And the music does a lot of heavy lifting for, say, the setting of the scene, the setting of the mood, etc. So it sounds better than it reads. So I'm not actually a good writer or anything like that. And maybe one day, maybe with a bit more practice. And obviously, useful constructive tips from you, the wider congregation. Now, okay, so are you a voice actor, or have you any background in theatre, etc.? Previously answered this, I'll answer again, zero, nothing. The only thing I did was being a silly person playing Dungeons and Dragons and lots of role-playing games, and being a forever GM, as they say it. As in, I always GM'd, apart from only once or twice in my life if I actually really played much. So you get into doing different voices for other people and putting on a bit of a show. But do I have any formal training? No, zero. Which is why there are so many mistakes, which I find obviously catastrophic, but other people gratefully don't point them out too much. And that takes us on to the next bit. Are you a team? No, there is no team behind Baldermort. There's me, Baldermort, there's Mrs. B, who spends hours picking out music and getting the really best, most evocative, most interesting, we find, evocative music we possibly can. and I'll talk about that in a second. And then there's me. I do everything else. I write it, I voice it, I edit it, and that's why sometimes when there are errors, etc., when you're writing it, you're voicing it, you're editing it, you're constructing the video all yourself. Sometimes you miss tiny errors, and sometimes errors are just there and you think, well, that will take me X amount of hours to sort out. I just can't do it. They're just going to have to accept a blip, because we're not a professional company or anything else like that. We're just, I'm just a nerd trying to entertain you, basically. That's it. I do my best. Which takes me on to one other point, actually. It's in here later, and I'll skip it when it comes to it, though. The only thing that really frustrates me is when everyone expects me to know what they know and know what I know too. And to be good at what I'm good at, which is, well, you could say words and enunciation, etc., and getting it done. But then when people send me huge amounts of computer packages, oh, it's so easy, you just do this, it gets a bit much. So someone asked, what is the thing that you find hardest? And I find interacting with people who are second nature in computers. Now, 20 years ago, I could strip a computer and put it back together again and worked out half of its actual binary, or whatever you want to call it, its program, and work out what was wrong with it. But I can't do it anymore. I'm not as old as people may think I am, but sometimes it's not necessarily the model of the car or the make it was released in, it's how many hours are on the clock. So sometimes I can be overwhelmed by things, and getting the perfect picture at the perfect time with the perfect resolution is a real bugbear for me. So what do you find hardest? Computer speak, computer talk and computer programs. And again, all of them are easy enough learned if you're younger, if you've got a background in it, if you use it every day. But if you use one package every 2 weeks, etc., it's more difficult. So what do I struggle with? Computers, and people expecting me to know everything they know and everything I know. Whereas I never expect people to know everything I know. So I sometimes it can be a little frustrating for an old fogey like me. It's like, why do I need to know about this stuff? But obviously I am learning slowly. So patience is a good thing. Thank you very much. I'm sorry if it seems to you like I spent a lot of time doing things or taking time to do things. I know people have been asking for Discord for a month, 2 months. But if you're working to the regime that I'm working in, getting a Monday out, a Wednesday out and a Friday out, there isn't actually a lot of time to do anything but write the stories, because I'm not just quoting, I'm writing stories, record it all, put it all together, get the right music, and that takes a lot of time unto itself, getting the right music. That takes us on to another question. Why don't you put all of your music accreditation everywhere? Well, I'm going to have to admit, it's an old man thing maybe, or I don't know, maybe I'm a wimp, but it's fear. Because 2 months ago I found someone had taken my credited music, which I can do, and then used it in a very similar setup, which I can do, because I hire it myself, but they got the same music, the same subject, and then after that they did, they did their own video. But in my opinion, although the vocals is very much up to preference and taste, etc., in my opinion they did a better job than me. So they had all the whistles and bells and all the graphics and everything was moving and coming in and out and going left and right and all the rest of it. So basically they got my synopsis, they got all of my work, and then they repackaged it better. And that's why I don't always give out the music, because there's something inside of me saying, I've only got so many stories, I've only got so many times I can do this, and let's hope it's 100,000, let's call it 1,000, whatever. But what if it's only 100, and then after that someone else has taken the music, I've used the plot, I've used my opinion, repackaged it even better than me, then after that everything I've built means nothing. So fear is why I don't do it, and you can see that as lame if you want, but again, no one knows how deep the well of their own creativity is until it's empty. So sometimes I can be protective of the things that make Baldermort more special, and I find that the music is the element that actually does that more than anything else. Not the words, not the speaking, not the perspective. I think it's the music that sets the tone, the drama, gets the emotions going, and makes it what it is. If you don't believe me, then try any video and turn off the sound, etc. And if you have the ability, turn off the music on something and see what it's like. Music is incredibly potent. So that is why I can be protective over that, and I don't really like giving out. I've got this music here, there and everywhere, because, as I say, I fear getting just ripped off and then pushed to the side when I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of work. So, forgive me, if you can. Be annoyed at me if you wish, but I'm not hiding it from you out of a churlish, well, I don't want you to have it. It's a case of fear. I don't know how long I can do this. So bear with me on that one. I will release them when I can, or I'll do a little video of all the music, etc. But I'm pretty much guaranteed from my own experience to then see 3 or 4 videos on things that I've already seen, or even better channels, which will then blow me out of the water. And yeah, it is fair. What can I say? Okay then. Right, do you make time for fun? Well, I haven't been. And that goes in with another question. Why do you live for the algorithm? Well, because I took on less work. I did less other things, so I could concentrate more on this. So you can say, well, don't care about it, just release when you want, etc. That's very nice, but YouTube is a brutal place for small channels. And you can say 40,000 isn't small, to them it is. So if you're not doing really well, if you're not going up perpetually, you're going down. And you even have subscribers taken from you, it's hidden. The amount of times I've read, oh, I've been unsubscribed, oh, I don't understand it. Well, I missed a video. Say, for example, going down from 140,000 hits in a 2-day period down to 60,000. You know, halving it. That happened because I missed one video. And people will say, well, you should do it for fun. Well, that's very nice, and I can see what you mean, but either I can do this for fun and put out very little, or I can do what I'm doing now, which is put out a lot and hoping it works. Now, I love doing this. The patrons seem to love me doing this, and I hope you do too. But the pressure is there because when you've worked very hard, see it like you've got a ship and you're bailing out water. And on a regular basis, I'm not seeking fame or power or money or any of that. I just want enough, and my needs are very small. And they need enough to keep going and to keep doing this. And patrons massively help that, but also hits do too. The little adverts, they don't ever go a great deal. Everyone thinks probably that I earn hundreds of thousands of pounds. That is definitely not the case. So it's about sustainability. If you're doing anything for a long time, you need to know it's sustainable, etc., etc. So waffle, I do apologise. So there we go. Good. Part 2. Phone battery died again. Okay. Right. Okay. So that's what I struggle with, etc. Okay. Are you super humble, or is it a persona? Right. Well, I like to bring my best me to this channel, as I ask a lot of people to do as well. I say to them, if you've had a stressed out day and you really need to vent, there are plenty of places on the internet to do so. Please don't do it here. By the same token, I try to be the best person I can be when I do this. But the vast majority of everything I do is absolutely natural. Occasionally I might have to count to 10. You know, calm down, go outside and have a think about it before coming back to someone. But I am a people pleaser, if you will. So yes, it comes from a completely natural place, but if you analyse anyone, they are many people. There are many faces. You wouldn't speak to your children as you would do your boss. You wouldn't treat, say, your partner the same way you'd met someone you just met. There are lots of different faces to everyone. This is not a constructed face, it is my best face. This is who I would like to be all of the time, but I fail because I'm no superhuman, and everyone, some people are multi-talented, they can do everything. I cannot. So I can't do everything, and I can't be everyone, and I can't do everything that people may want me to do. All I can do is try and be honest and try to come from a good place, and that's what I do. I bring my best me to this scenario, and then I try not to, when I'm having a break and I'm answering messages, I try not to be, tired or cantankerous or hedgehoggy, as I call it, but I'm only human, like anyone else. But again, that's about as much as you need to know about me. I just try to bring my best me to be with you when we're around the fireside, and I hope you do too. And you can call that whatever you like. Lots of people will attack that, and if they do, well, I think they should ask themselves the question why. There you go. Right, next question. Would you do voice acting? Right, here's one thing. A lot of people will say, well, why don't you work for Games Workshop? Why don't you work with this person? Well, it's not up to me. It's up to them. Anyone who's offered me an olive branch or reached out to me, I've worked with. All of the people who I've generally done anything with or taken any advice with have approached me first, as it should be to a certain extent. I don't want to go knocking on people's doors and saying, please read a book with me, because it's not worth their while. If they wanted to, they would, and if they do, then they have, or they will do. So sometimes I do get a bit frustrated when people are saying, I need to do this. And it's like, well, none of it's up to me. Games Workshop need to approach me. Audible need to pick something up. All of these different things are outside of my power. So if we could stop asking me to do things which are outside of my power, if you want Alphabus or anybody else to work with me, tell them. I'm happy to work with anyone, as you know, well, most people. There are some situations I wouldn't want to get into, but they're very, very few. Okay, but we'll discuss that later. Alright, which faction would I join? That is very much dependent on the day. You say, it's a wishy-washy answer. But you're involved in a couple of factions, and very much so, I hope, and I was too. But since I've taken on doing this, I've got to be on everyone's side. Because the whole point of Baldermort we'll get to later, but just in a nutshell, I wanted every faction to have a rah-rah video just for them. Because sometimes YouTubers, for whatever reason, there's a myriad of reasons, they're not always what you think they are, will say certain things and do certain things and show certain biases, etc. So I didn't want to do that. So my opinion does change on a regular basis on who, where, when and what and how I would play, what with, etc. I've only got so many models, etc. But if I had enough money, time, resources and all the rest of it, and I could live with myself, I'd have them all. They're just fantastic. Alright, how long have you been a fan of Warhammer? Well, 1987 was when Warhammer 40 started. I was actually playing Warhammer Fantasy a little bit before that came along, and I just walked into a shop and there they were. Instant love affair. Just a wide-eyed teen walked up to a counter and went, oh my god, what are those? And started playing, and it was really good fun. It was very different to most things, and it's a very different beast to it is now. But I don't think it's better. There's a lot of, starry-eyed nostalgia that goes on, and there's nothing wrong with that. But is it better? I don't think so. It's a very different type of game, but you can play it the old way if you want to. People will say, oh, the rulebook this and the rulebook that. Well, at the end of the day, there's always one rule in every single one of their rulebooks. Play it your way. So, play it your way. Relax. But, so yes, I had a break in the 90s for about 10, 12 years, until my son's birthday came along. I hadn't thought about Warhammer for a very, very long time, and was it Christmas? I think it was Christmas, and he got a box given to him by his grandmother, and instantly I went, oh darn it, and back down the rabbit hole I went. But again, I never regret it, really enjoyed it. And I think it's just a fantastic little escape, because that's all it is, an escape. Why are you so humble? Egotism's bad. when you've got a lot of people saying that something that you do, which is not you, I am not Baldermort, as in the work, that is the work, it's separate from me. Some people get mistaken that they think that everything that they do is fantastic, not the product itself. I'm sorry if you hate the word product, but it is what it is. It's, you know, I'm creating a video for you, the greater congregation, the friends around the fireside. But if you get egotistical, one, you get lazy, or you can do. Two, you can stop listening to people, and that's no good in my opinion. But again, only for me. For other people it may work perfectly. But I don't want to become a tyrant, and I don't want to become any kind of egotist, because it's never good for you, in my opinion. So I would rather be annoyingly humble than egotistical. So I'm sorry, I very much hope that will never go away. So you're just going to say, well, that's Baldermort, that's one of those things, because I don't want that to go away. Right, are you related to Voldemort? Well, I picked Baldermort for Voldemort because I'm actually his polar opposite, in my opinion, what we stand for. He stands for egotism, division, self-aggrandising at the expense of others, whereas I wanted to show people it's fun, it's a hobby, stop taking it so seriously, and just enjoy the stories. That takes us on to why I created it, but we'll get to that later. So, no, I'm Baldermort. It was supposed to be just silly fun, to just show people that it's a bit of a ridiculous site. Just enjoy it, you know, for what it is, light entertainment, nothing more. What is your favourite faction? I think we've done that one. It changes. Alright, why are you such a good creator? Well, I'm not. I create videos. And you think, oh, why did you put that in there? Because I just want to explain something to anyone who's new here. If you look at the older videos, which I don't advise, to be honest, a lot of them, it was a continuous evolution led by the community that has got us up to a level which I think is much better. And I consider this an ongoing process. And we'll see how far we can go. But obviously I can't do massive innovations all of the time, because as we've seen from Krieg, it exhausted me. So I have to be able to do the standard videos and then slowly inch upwards, if you will. And occasionally we'll have a big feast, a big banquet of lore, and I hope to do more fun things for that. But again, I don't want to say too much, because then what I do is I'll blabbermouth, like advertising something early, and then after that give myself not enough time, and then after that lose all sleep trying to do it, and then feel absolutely exhausted. So everyone said, look after yourself, Balders. So what I'm going to have to do that is just stop my mouth shouting about things. And then putting too much pressure on myself to do them, and I've just got to basically control it slightly more, so sorry about that. Do you like Alphabusser? Yes, of course I do. Humour is never for everyone. The lore is actually exceptionally well researched, even though it is put in a very silly slant. If something isn't for you, though, just don't watch it. It's not a case of don't watch something, ha 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 ha. It's just a case of I wouldn't want to watch something I don't like. So why would you worry about someone else quoting something else you don't like? If you find it annoying, well, just do what I do, scroll past. It's called the meh defence, and I'd like you to consider it. Something upsets you, go meh. That's all, because it's unimportant. It's a TV programme. Just change it on our channel. Right then, what are your favourite models? Very difficult question to answer. I have so many fond memories of the older ranges. I love them, and I love the new models too. I think the skill level is just going through the roof. I don't always agree with their interpretation of things artistically, but it would be a pretty strange world if I did. So like, I love the new aggressors. I absolutely love them. A bit of a Teletubbies thing going on, because they fire again, and my kids were, you know, young enough to or old enough now, sorry, to have been through that Teletubbies period. So I find it hilarious, but I like the way they move. I like what they do. I love the new Marines. All of the Primaris. I know I hate them because they're new and they've changed the law, etc., etc. Well, I say it's still a bedding in period. Let's give it some time. At the very end of the day, we all asked for true scale Marines. We've got them. Let's give Games Workshop slightly less stick, maybe. Right. Question. One question that comes up a lot. What are your thoughts on X character in the Heresy? I don't know the Heresy that well, guys. Okay, I do introductions to Warhammer 40. I am slowly reading through the Heresy, but I probably haven't read as much as you think. So questions about time minutiae, about the Heresy, etc. I'm going to have to disappoint you and say, I just don't read as much as you think I do. I don't have as much in my mind. But one of the other factors is I've got 6 editions. I only missed 2. 6 editions in my mind, and the law does change. So when I have to say, when people get absolutely ballistic because I've read out from a codex and it's different to their knowledge, which has been there for 20 years, well, I'm terribly sorry, but the law does change. It does change. And the guides are for newer players, primarily. If anybody else enjoys them, great, thank you very much. But realistically, it's for new players, so I can't tell them what was occurring 10 years ago. I have to tell them what's going on now. So if you get upset about something inside an equip, there's nothing I can do about it, and shouting at me about it isn't going to help. Just say, meh. Right then. Right, so yes, I don't know as much as you think I do. I like to think that I read slowly, not too slowly, but I absorb. So I understand more than I know, if that makes any sense at all. I just have a very weird perspective on things, and I just want people to enjoy it, really. As I say, this is only a training wheel site. You come on here and you gain the basics, and then after you go out to the heavyweights, Oculus and others, you know. Obviously Remley's the Grandmaster, and lots of other people who do really, really good work. I'm chucking out candy floss for people to eat and to enjoy and smile at while they're at the circus. And if I ever did anything heavy, then you would know. So like Dawn, etc. But again, people get very angry about what I consider, well, you left out that his tunic had a blue button on the left side for 2 years. Well, I'm sorry, it's called an introduction for a reason. It's the very, very basics. And people would get very upset with Horus Heresy stuff if you leave out the one part that they find the most interesting. So unfortunately, things like the Primarchs, etc., I don't really want to engage myself in it at the moment because I find it stressful. People get very stressed out about it. But secondly, because the law is changing. A lot of law is changing now. No matter what people may say about everything is canon, not everything is true. That's all very nice, but the recent book Saturnine actually changed the history of the Emperor, so that's why I had to stop that video run, and I had a lot planned. You know, to go through the entire history of the Imperium and the human race through the ages, through the eyes of the Emperor. But I can't do that now because I keep changing things, so I'm having to let all of it settle down a bit. And again, I won't give my opinion on why they're doing that, but I don't think it's continuity of plot, we'll put it that way. They are a company. Right then, why do I read in your voice? Because I write now in the way that I read out. So it's not you, it's not a clever trick, etc. It's me talking to you, so I use my conversational words, structures. Again, I'm not manipulating anyone. I'm coming to you in the way I always have. So therefore you can know it's me. Also, another thing is, if, say, for example, if the site got ripped and someone started chucking out messages to you, you would know if I'd been ripped, because it wouldn't sound like me. It's not a very easy style to copy, I hope. Not because of originality, just because of that extra little bit of protection. Like, the gentle listeners will know if someone else has taken the site from me. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Also, it's because it's supposed to be relaxing. All of it's supposed to be relaxing. So continuity of presentation is what I like to go for. Bodden. Hello, Bodden. Have you played Magic the Gathering? Yes, I did. I did it a lot in the 90s. Quite a lot. I have a box about yay big full of them. I don't think you can even see my eye has. Yep, sold a load, some of them for ludicrous amounts of money. And I played white. And I love playing white. The entire protection thing, loved it. Okay, My Hero Academia. Yep, it's a really good show. I like Shoto for his duality, and obviously All Might is just hilarious. Thanks again, Bodden. Okay. What are your top 5 anime? Okay, it's going to be a bit of an odd list, because this kind of thing, it's a rabbit hole that if you go down into, you can either spend 10 seconds talking from the heart, or 10 years contemplating the various strengths of each. So I'm just going to go with the heart. Code Geass, Lelouch of the Rebellion, Full Metal Alchemist, both. I think watching Brotherhood after the first one is optimal, but if you have to pick either, Brotherhood. Scrapped Princess, it's just hilarious. Gurren Lagann, good laugh. Also did that thing, whereas when it ended, it then went into a new story. I love that. And Berserk, apart from the last episode, of course, because we don't talk about that. Like, we don't talk about 5th season of Babylon 5. We just don't. No, we don't talk about it. Will we be hearing about the rock planet? Yes, you will. The planet with the rock coming towards us, and that's Abundance Tertius. You will see developments going on there. To be honest, I'm going to be trying something which is quite large. So, but that will come in time. Again, keeping my mouth shut about stuff I'm planning, so I don't stress myself out. You don't stress me out, I stress me out. And I've got to try and stop being my own worst enemy. Voice training and smoking. Right, this is my relaxing. I use my relaxing phone voice because I was in a job whereas people were very stressed out, so I had to calm them down so we can actually then discuss what's going on and then take action. But if people are too tense, they just scream. They shout, and they're emotive instead of intellectual. They don't appraise the situation. So all of this is just my phone voice. And people were saying to me for years, you should do voice acting, ha 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 ha. And I went, yeah, okay, forget it. But because I'm unfortunately one of these people where you can't do something, blah, blah, low self-confidence, whatever you want to call it. Okay, now, do I smoke? Yes, I do. Is it the stupidest thing anyone can do? Yes, it is. Full stop, without doubt. Any bonuses you think you might ever gain from smoking are a lie. Absolute lie. Oh, I could have a great voice. Yeah, I know, but you might get throat cancer. Okay, is it worth it? The answer is no. And back to being unjealous. Never hear my voice and say, oh, I wish I could have it. You've got your own voice. Your own voice is as beautiful in its own way. So I'm just going to leave that there. We all heard my rant. How wonderful you all are, but you are. So just be cool with yourselves, guys. Just nod to someone else who can do something better than you and go, he can do that, that's cool. Then look at what you can do better than them. You'll go, yeah, okay, swings on roundabouts. Okay, who would be the best Primarch to return? Okay, complicated question. For Hope, from my perspective, only at this moment, at this time. For Hope, Sanguinius, even though I don't really want that to happen, it would completely destroy the background. For War, the Lion or Dawn. For duels, which are important, Leman Russ, obviously, the Wolf Lord. Why would you not? Next question, which Legion and Primarchs staying loyal would have made the most difference? Again, I'm not an expert on Horus Heresy. Warhammer, I know, but I'm not an expert on that. But from my perspective, as I sit right here, Fulgrim. Now that will change. That will change whenever I read up again about a new Primarch, because I fall in love with them. Not you know what I mean. But yeah, I think the characters are absolutely fantastic. The only thing I would say is that I view them in a slightly different way. And this is going to sound bad, please don't take it nastily. I think a lot of the books are written for much younger viewers, So sometimes I go into the subtext of what's happened and try and work out a more adult reason, a more developed reason for people reacting the way they did. A lot of people hated Dawn, my interpretation of him. I say you're absolutely right, and your opinion is every bit as valid as mine. This is just Saturday morning cartoons, basically. So don't get stung up on it. Don't get annoyed with it. Just move on. If you disagree, that's fine. Disagree. You can have a chat with me or with other people on the comments section. But shouting at me isn't going to make any changes. It's just going to entrench, because it always does. If you shout at anyone, all you do is entrench their position. Right. What was your first army? Right. Well, Space Marines, the Wombles, the little biggies. Still got a load. And I played, even though they weren't really legions then, not for a long time. Eventually I moved to Space Wolves. I had some Crimson Fists, etc., because they were easy to paint, they were lovely. Eldar, again, it's very difficult for me to remember exactly which order they were all in, because it was a very long time ago. But Eldar, I love my Scots, I still got some. And Imperial Guard, I love the little models, I thought they were fantastic. And you used to get these big boxes with like 36 in them. Again, people will say, oh, it was only a tenner. Well, then a tenner wasn't a small amount of money either. So I don't think the prices have gone up that much, but what you actually got in the box was just fantastic for a starter. But they were just starting Warhammer, 40k, so of course things were going to be quite nice. Okay. So, second time round, when I came back to it, Blood Angels, my son picked those, Eldar I picked, and from there on it's developed into all of the others. Why don't you do super chats and other things like that? Okay, I live work scares me intensely, because all I'm going to get is, in the 30k, in this book, what happened with that guy? What did that guy do it? Why did that one have the third shiny button, etc.? So I can't face all those questions. There's only so many times you can actually, as a person, turn around and say, I don't know, I'm not sure. So all of this live chat, live hanging out, etc., terrifies me, because people, as I say, seem to think that I know more than I do. I know what I know. I know more than I present, and I check what I know to the best of my ability. But when it comes down to it, whether you're entertained and it's imperfect, or if it's perfect and it doesn't come out for a month, I will always choose entertaining you first. Okay? That's what it's always going to come down to. I'm going to try and be as concise and as accurate as possible. But when it really comes down to it, I see this site as light entertainment for people who then research later on and find out the nuances I either didn't know or didn't state. Just because I didn't state them doesn't mean I didn't know them in a lot of things. But on the other hand, sometimes I just blatantly don't know. Because very, 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 very few people on the planet can know all of it. And even then, someone as titanic as Remley's, 40k theory, still has to research. Or the big guys, you know who they are. They still have to research, so no one can know it all. And you can get angry, and a lot of people do. You don't know my faction as well as I do. Well, you're concentrating on one, maybe three factions. I've got them all to do. So, bear with me. Okay. How do you go about the creating the stories? Well, Mrs. B will pick out some music, she'll throw it at me, I'll listen to a load, I'll say that one for that group, that group, that group, that group, and then I'll pick that music, I'll put on ahead, I'll drive myself semi-insane trying to work out their perspective. I will listen to that soundtrack and really try to get under their skin, read some quotes. If I've got any codices or books, etc., I like to read those. If not, I'll order them. I really try to get under the skin of that subject, that situation. And then after that, I try and draw up a story. Now, a lot of people will say that you always pick the little guy to do these things from. Well, that's because the little guy is an easy way to show Space Marines being super duper. And it's done a lot in the books as well. And again, I do this very, very quickly. I'll wake up, I'll write the story, I'll record it, I'll put it out. I don't have massive time for editing, for reshaping and polishing, so they're never going to be that good. And again, what I do is not comparable to a book. I just do little powerful scenes, like adverts, for the character or the faction. What other people have to do is weave a multifaceted into all just complicated story. And I'm not sure if I could do it or not. I have no idea. They're very different disciplines. Okay, why did you start the channel? I started the channel for multiple reasons. One, I found that most of the things online were very testosterone driven, fueled. There's nothing wrong with that, nothing at all. But I found that the competitive scene was very loud. So when I was on a lot of Facebook groups, I'm in a lot of factions, I've got armies all over the place, and interests. So I found that a lot of things were very, very, curb stomp your enemy, drive them before you, hear the lamentations of the women, ha 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 ha. And and the other side of it is just have a great laugh. And again, it's not bashing at the competitive scene at all. I have the greatest respect for competitive players. But because they were so loud, and so many people go on those sites, they become louder and more extreme. So people, I felt, were just kind of ignoring just the simple joys of a great story, a fun day, and I wanted the newer kids to, and people even of my own age, joining the game to see that it can just be a really, really relaxed, good laugh. So that was one. Just not completing noise, but just someone trumpeting that everyone can be cool, it's all fine kind of element. Two, a lot of the lore sites were very, very dense. Really dense. And you can say, but you do huge, epic, hour-long videos. That's true. But I only go through the basics. And the shorter ones, I go through the basics again. All of it's designed to get people to see the fun of it and the enjoyment of it. And I found that too many of the other sites are absolutely fantastic, much better than what I do, or could do. But it was very much, well, you've already passed your test, your driving test, and you're now going to go for your advanced test. Well, I thought, well, who's teaching them just the very, very basics? Making it an easy route in. And I thought, well, I think I can do that. I've read a load of codices, I know what's going on with it. I used to tell people about their lore when they joined the club, used to run through games, etc. A bit of a welcome wagon kind of guy. So I thought, well, maybe I can do it slightly larger. And again, I used to love GMing all the time, telling stories, etc. So as I've become more confident, I've, with severe and serious assistance from the community, I've moved forward into a bit of storytelling, helping people get into it. As I explained once in a previous video, other people can tell you who, what, when, where, and how in much greater detail and with much better skill than I can. I tell people why, is my opinion, and that's what I want to stick with. So there we go. Other quick questions. Will you be going on other platforms? Well, a lot of people have said, put it on our podcast. Well, I'm really sorry. I am sorry. But as far as I know from a podcast, you download it, you can listen to it whenever you like, etc. That means I get absolutely no ad revenue. And without that, I can't do it. So if I'm wrong, perfectly happy to look at other things. But just remember, I'm a camel. I can't put on too much without going squish. I really work hard. I hope you can see that. I put out what I consider at the moment 3 not brilliant but good quality videos, and some are better than others, obviously. Some are more technically difficult in different ways, and I am still learning as I go in all ways. So just give me some patience and say to yourself, well, it's only X% now. Maybe he'll get to 100% one day. But again, your 100% is never going to be the same as somebody else's 100%. So I'm never going to please all of the people all of the time. And one other issue I would say is, please stop the jealousy. which is not of me at all. There's nothing to be jealous of, but the faction jealousy. Oh, you can't believe you said that they were cool. Well, wait for your video. I'm going to tell you you're cool. Each one of the videos is a rah-rah, and you say it's just propaganda. That's exactly what it is for. It's so that some kid walks into a shop, goes, oh my God, I like the blue ones. Well, what are they? Space Marines? Oh, they look fantastic. And someone can say, well, have you watched a video on them to get into the idea of what they are? Okay, I'll go and do that. And then they go off and they watch a video on Crimson Fist, we'll say. And I say, they're absolutely fantastic. And then the first thing they read in the comments is, no, they're not. Mine's better, mine's better, mine's better. And lots of, no, you know, kind of like, no, I'm better, you know. Leave it. Just wait for your own video. Say all that stuff on your video. But perpetually having a go at other people for liking something different to you means actually what you want is this. If I'm going to be aggressive towards everyone of every other faction, what I'm actually saying is I want everyone to be playing Crimson Fists. Because if a new player comes in, sees, let's take Tau, and sees everyone screaming at them, saying how rubbish they are, etc., then that player will not want to play Tau. No matter how much they love the figures, they don't want the aggro. So you can say, smirk to yourself and say, oh, well, I'm reducing the amount of Tau, well, that's great. I think you're fooling yourself, because I like nothing better than getting my jump pack Blood Angel Death Company in amongst the blueberries and buzzy, choppy, boom, boom, slack, choppy, in the name of the Emperor. But if you keep having to go at everyone else's faction, there won't be other factions, and then after that it's going to be Marine versus Marine versus Marine versus Marine versus Marine versus Marine. Tedious. And I couldn't think of a worse way for the game to go. So please stop laying into each other. Just, you know, if you don't like a faction, don't comment. That's all you do. You don't comment. That's it. So please be polite. Now, obviously, that was more painful than you could possibly imagine doing all of that. So, because yeah, I'm very shy in real life in this kind of situation. So, many apologies for waffling on like a waffle thing. So, there we go, and back to regular viewing for Wednesday and Friday, hopefully. Okay, so if you have suggestions, doable suggestions, little tweaks, etc., and they are positive, then please bring them up. If it's just, I don't like this, well, I tend to phase out from that. If I don't agree with, this is broken, what I agree with is, this is how something could be fixed. Yeah? So if you come to me with a, I don't like what you're doing, then my answer is going to be, don't watch. Someone says, which is actually a very nice thing to say, it's a case of, I don't want you to stress yourself out watching something and spending your very limited time on this planet doing something you're not enjoying. It's not a case of me telling you to get lost, two fingers. It's a case of, then do something you do love. If you like a certain person, then watch them. Don't expect me to work with them because they haven't asked me to. And some people I won't work with. You know that, because I don't do certain things. It's as simple as that. So just watch that which you enjoy. But if you want to guide me, if you want to help make this better, then say good things, and then you'll get a good result. Say things nicely, and you'll get a nice response. Say things aggressively, and you will get blocked, because I just don't have that energy anymore, because there's too many of you, which is wonderful. But there you go. Now I'm going to cut down this video like nobody's business, because this is all a mad waffle. So all I can say now is thank you so much for all of your support, your guidance, your patience, your enthusiasm, your knowledge, old hands, and new enthusiasts, your assistance in bringing the community together. And I think that's more than anything else what Baldermort, the entire thing is about. Community. It's why I drove myself completely insane. I nearly physically broke myself with Krieg. To show everyone that the YouTubers mostly can work together, as we all can really. So try and look at the similarities between yourself and other people, not the differences. you'll find there are always more. Is everyone easy to work with? No, they're not. Sometimes the people you invest the most time in that can seem so difficult at the start are the people who then become your best friends when you work them out. And again, anyone can have a bad day, or anyone can waffle on insanely like I am doing now, because I'm so nervous. Right, apologies, stop wasting your time. Go do something. You know what I'm going to say now. Make absolutely certain that you make time for fun. Right? Very important, as I now know myself. So, always make time for fun, guys. Thank you for all of your patience, your support, and everything. I'm just going to repeat myself again, back to nerves. Toodaloo. Okay, and we did speak about community. So what I also like to do is show you something someone sent to me. I know other people have done it. I was going to be doing it earlier. Unfortunately, my computer fell over on me so many times I couldn't get it into Krieg, which is unfortunate because I really desperately wanted to finish Krieg with this video. I think it's cool. That's as far as it goes, really. Rule of cool with me, always. A controversial period or point in Warhammer history, and one of the few times you actually get to see the inner workings of the Emperor's mind. So I think it's very important. I think it's very interesting, and I thought I'd share it with you to see if anybody else wanted to help them out on Kickstarter. Again, I'll be giving that a go in a couple of days myself. I'll leave a link in the bottom. But just enjoy it. Again, if you don't enjoy it, fair enough, don't comment. If you do enjoy it, then go over, give them some encouraging feedback, and chuck them a couple of squid if you got them. Because, again, I'd like to sit basically one afternoon, one evening, sipping some port and watching this bad boy unfold. So, again, I'm not necessarily asking you to help me. I'm asking you to help them if you wish to. But... well, yeah, I'm waffling again. Sorry about it. It's a very waffly day. Right, well, let's have a look at the Last Church. Wonderful set of people doing this. Labour of love, not a labour of commerce. So, well, enjoy. And I'll see you all on Wednesday. And, well, as I said before, go make sure to have that fun thing. All right? Take care now. Bye.
Cold night. I'm an old man. Please. Welcome to the Church of the Fulgur Lapis. Do you wish to join us tonight? I don't recognize you.
No, I don't expect you would. Nor would I expect us to be anyone besides you and I.
Well, this is a surprise. My midnight sermons are considered quite popular in these parts. You're sure?
Quite.
What a shame. I had not thought I had aged so poorly as to scare so many away.
It is rare to find a man like you with a sense of humor. I have found that most of your kind are dour, leaden-hearted men.
My kind?
Priests.
Then I fear you have only met the wrong kind. Besides, given the times we live in, any servants of the divine would find it extremely difficult to be of good cheer.
Very true.
I am Uriah Olothair, last priest of the Church of the Fulgur Lapis. Might I have your name?
My name is unimportant. However, you may call me Apocalypsis.
An unusual name for one who professes a dislike of priests. You are aware of the significance of such a word?
I am. it is suiting for tonight, however.
And why exactly would that be? What revelations do you search for in my humble church?
I seek no revelation. I simply wish to talk to you. I wish to learn what keeps you here when the world is abandoning your beliefs in gods and divinity. I wish to understand why you have yet to turn to the faith of science and reason.
Your good health.
And yours. This is very good wine. It's old.
You have a fine appreciation of wine, friend Apocalypsis. My father gave this to me on my 15th birthday, and said I should drink it on my wedding night.
And you never married?
Never found anyone willing to put up with me. I was a devilish rogue back then.
No longer, it would seem. A devilish rogue turned priest. Sounds like quite the tale.
It is, but some wounds run deep, and it does no good to reopen them.
Fair enough.
Friend Apocalypsis, tell me, what did you mean when you said this place was soon to be gone?
Exactly what I said. Even in your isolated state, you must have heard of the Emperor and his crusade to stamp out religion and belief in the supernatural. Soon, he and his forces will arrive to tear this place down.
I know, but it makes no difference to me. I believe what I believe, and no amount of hectoring from some warmongering despot will sway me.
That is an obstinate point of view.
It is faith. It would seem I'm not as fickle as you would posit, eh?
Faith.
The Fulgur Lapis.
So this is a holy stone?
It is, yes.
Why?
Why is it the Fulgur Lapis?
I mean, why is it holy? Was it deposited on the ground by your god? Was a man martyred here? Or did some young girl receive some sort of revelation while praying at its base?
Nothing so bland, rest assured, friend Apocalypsis. Thousands of years ago, a local holy man who was blind was walking in the hills hereabouts, when a sudden storm came in over the Western Ocean. He hurried back down to the village below, but it was a long way, and the storm broke before he could reach safety. The holy man took shelter from the storm in the lee of this stone, at the height of the storm in the lee of the heavens. When he thought all was lost, he was lifted up and heard the voice of our Creator. And so he saw the stone wreathed in a blue fire, in which he saw the face of our Creator.
Did you not say he was blind?
Ah, he was blind no longer. The power of our Creator cured him of his affliction. He immediately ran back to the village and told the people there of the miracle.
And then?
Say what you will, but come sunrise, you will leave and not return.
This is my intention. I have other matters to attend to, but tonight I have to talk with you. My adversarial spirit is not born from any mal-will towards you, Uriah. My malcontent is born from my love for humanity. I would see our species in an age of wonder, without these constant wars and the ignorance that blankets our kind like a plague. I would see us ascend. I would see all of our kind raised to the status of godhood that is worshipped throughout the galaxy. But we are enslaved to the fantastical notions that reside within that book of yours, and all the others like it. That damnable book in your hands is a curse, and I would see you rid of it.
You go so far as to mock my holy book too? This damnable book provides a code by which I have lived a peaceful life, in which I have built more than I have destroyed, helped more than hurt. My time before this book was nothing but destroying and hurting. Untold thousands more live similar lives thanks to the guidance provided by our willingness to believe in something greater than ourselves. Tell me, Apocalypsis, when we, as a species, find your vision to be a reality, what will become of us? What will unite us? Peace can only be attained through an aspiration or a common enemy. And when that aspiration disappears and we as a species are gods without rivals, who will we turn on? We will turn on each other, friend Apocalypsis. Your vision will bring only an eternity of war. When gods clash, galaxies burn.
So what would you...